Okay, today I'm going to do a video on making one of these. It's a single strand 8 plait grommet. Mikko Snellman has done a video on it, which is how I learned how to do it. But I gotta say, I've been struggling with this thing for over a year. On and off, I pick it up and then throw it down in a fit of rage. Now that I know how to do it, I look at Mikko's video and see that it's perfectly clear. But for whatever reason, probably because I'm a bit slow, I took a long time to get it. So I thought I'd do a video and just see if I can make it a bit clearer, or maybe just help myself remember it. But anyway, we'll start with, this is about 2 meters of 3mm cord. It's hemp. I made it a while ago, but I don't usually make hemp because it's more expensive, but it's nice to work with. So center the length of cord, do a loop, which is about whatever's, pretty much you can make these as large or small as you like, with as many crossovers as you like, but as long as it fits. I'm going to do 4 because it's fairly quick to do that way. So the loop is about that size, and we just start wrapping one end around the other. So this is how I do 4 of them. Don't make them too tight, and sort of make them evenly spread. 3 and one more is 4. Okay, so now we're back to the beginning. What you do here is take, this is the one we're working with, take it behind the standing one. So now it's behind, and then we start again. And stay in the groove that, all the way around. Just stay in the same groove. Don't cross over the grooves or else it'll get confused. Yeah. Okay, so we're back to the beginning again. They should line up, they should both be in the same groove. If they're not in the same groove, you either haven't wrapped the one you're working with around enough times, or you've wrapped it around too many times. So if they're in the same groove, you're back to the beginning. Again, take this one and put it behind the standing one, and we'll go around once more. And again, staying in the groove. Okay, see how they don't line up, so it goes around once more. And they're in the same groove again. At this point we're finished, so we don't take that around the back again, we just leave them there. Now at this point Mikko ties a temporary loop around the whole thing to hold it all together. When you start crossing over with your working piece, I found it hard to get past that, to know where you're supposed to go. It just confused me. So what I do is just tie those two together. I don't put it around the whole lot. So we'll just tie those two with a constrictor. Okay, so this is the piece we've been working with. That's now dead. It's finished with. We start with the other end. This used to confuse me, the beginning. It somehow seemed counterintuitive. The pattern is over, under, over, under, over, under, over 2, under 2, over 2, under 2, all the way around, and that's the only pattern, so it should be simple, but for some reason it confused the hell out of me. Anyway, we start with going under those two. It seems like awkward to cross over, but that's what you do. So you're coming from that side, but you're going under there. So that's our first under 2. Now we go over the same 2, so over that way, and then under the next 2, which is there. As you can see, we just basically go back and forth. So we've gone under that 2, so we go over that 2 and under the same 2, but further along. Over the 2 we just went under, and then under the next 2. Over those 2, and then under them as well. So just going back and forth. Over those 2, under these ones. Oh, coming the wrong way, so okay, so we go back that way. Come under those, we go over those and over the same, under the same ones. Over those, under these. So this first one, there's no need to turn the piece over because we're not really revolving it, we're just zigzagging back and forth. Under those, over those, and then under them as well. Okay, so now we're back to the start. So we've come out here. Basically we just need to go over those 2 and then under the next 2. This is where we start to revolve around the piece. So over, under. So these 1, 2, we go under those. Now, this arch here is the first over under that we did. You'll see that reoccur all the way around. We never go under them or over them, we go parallel to them, so we kind of slot in between them when we get more of them. Now if you see this pattern, there's 2 lines coming out from under that arch. We always split those 2 lines. So we've come up through them, so we've split them. If you find yourself coming up there, then you've gone wrong. If you find yourself coming up here with 2 still coming out, you've gone wrong. It's a good way of visually checking whether you've miscounted somewhere. You'd think it impossible to miscount, it's only 2, but it happens. Okay, so we don't go over that because that's one we've already laid. You can see because they've curved. 1, 2, we go over, turn it around, 1, 2, we go under, and you see there's another arch, we're going to split it. So we keep doing that, we'll come out here. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we go under both of those and we're going to split that parallel there that comes out of that arch, just like we do each time. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So we're going under those 2 there. One, 2. We don't count that one, you see, because that's one of our spliced pieces. We only count these ones. We go beside these arches, not over them or through them. So 1, 2, not counting that. 1, 2, 1, 2. So we go under those 2. Which again, if we look here, comes up splitting those 2 that have come under the arch. One, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we're coming out there. Go over, over, under both of those. And again, we're splitting that parallel that comes out under the arch. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. And again, there's our arch. That's what we're splitting. One, 2, 1, 2. We're back to the beginning, but we don't have to think about this really. The pattern just keeps going around and actually bypasses that join really easily. Which when you wrap it all the way around, I find it a bit more confusing to get past it, but here it's basically, that's like treated as one chord, and this doesn't exist. 1, 2, 1, 2, and there's another arch, and we're coming out between them. One, two, and again, see, we're just travelling in between all the arches. So now we've got 2 arches side by side, whereas before we had them separated, because we're going around another round and we're laying another bunch of arches next to the ones we've already done. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. So that is an arch. So I've done this enough to recognize them now. If you're doing it for the first time, sometimes it might pay, I'll show you, to leave all these crossovers a little bit larger so that you recognize them really easily. So we're counting 1, 2, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2. One, two, 1, 2. And that's our arch there. We're splitting it as we always do. Coming up to the beginning again. 1, 2, 1, 2. And there's our arch, and they're the ones we're splitting. Okay, remember, we just ignore this piece, just carry on the pattern. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So, and we're travelling parallel with all these arches that we've made, not across them or under them. So 1, 2, and if you see this next 2 comes out over below that arch there, so that's the one we split. Gets a little more crowded now. This is our last revolution. And you can see we're going in between those arches, not across them or under them. So there's our 1, there's our 2. Now 1, 2. And we're splitting that pair that comes out from under that arch. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. Okay, here it looks this looks confusing because it looks like we're going to have to go over that. We go between them. So just push that back to make it a little clearer. We're going between those 2 arches. 1, 2, 1, 2. So through those. One, 2, between those arches. 1, 2, 1, 2. One, 2, 1, 2. Again, between those arches, so parallel with those. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, we're back to the beginning. So 1, 2, 1, 2. So now we cross it. Now this is our end piece. So let's just undo this. this is our working end. 1, 2, 1, and that piece is actually our second piece, so because that's an arch, we don't count that, so we just come up here. So this starting tail here that we were counting as dead is actually working now. We've gone over 2 and under 2, counting that one. So that's the finish of that piece. When we tighten it up, we trim it off here. And this one goes back down and hides itself in there. So see the pattern? They're all going parallel, so we just go parallel like that one does. That one's going into that hole, so this one should go into that hole, so we'll just push it down. That one there is already going, so that's where we pretend that it disappears into there. So that one will trim off here, this one will trim off here, but first we go through and tighten it, because I haven't done it very tightly just so we could see the arches clearly. So where this one comes out, that's where we started. That was our first crossover. So we find out where that one is, which is down here, and just pull that tight, and then just go around taking out the slack in each one. You'll realise the pattern and not have to struggle finding which one's which once you've done it a few times. Okay, so that's our... Okay, now what I do is dab a touch of glue onto them. So this one comes out there, so we trim that. So I put a dab of glue in the middle of it. And on the other side as well. I just use it's PVA wood glue. It dries clear, so you can't see it. It's white now, but when it dries it's clear. And just push that back down in and close those lips over, and same with this one. Push that back inside and close those over. Just give it a bit of a rub. Okay, that's done. yeah, they turn into very satisfying things after you've struggled for, as I say, almost well over a year now. If I wanted to do another one, I could do another one and make the circle through it and just keep wrapping, and then you end up with a chain like so. Okay, I hope that was clear. Good luck. May you figure it out faster than I did.